All right. Let me just do the whole social media thing. Okay. Take a photo. Cool. Share the link and then we'll get started. Sun Guns Pro. I don't think so, but I appreciate the kind words regardless. Stories. Bam. Cool. I'll do one for Twitter as well, just really quickly. Bear with me. We'll get cracking. How's everyone doing? Should have done this, sorry, my apologies. Alrighty. Shall we get cracking? Alright, so where we left off the other day. So what have we got? We have got to figure out this line work, and I'll just change the scene. Scrubbies in. Cool. All right. So we might gather some reference as we go, but the goal for today, I think, is going to be get the line work pretty much there, sort of refine it up a little bit, and then get cracking with some rendering maybe. Might get started, depending on how we go. So, but that's the thrill of it, right? You never know exactly how things are going to go. I might have a new idea that I want to try out, and that can throw a spanner in the works. So we shall see. Is everything looking all good on stream? Hey, pillows. How you doing? Good evening. Daniel. What's happening, man? Good to have you. Yep, I'll be streaming a lot more often now. All right, so all I'm doing here is I've just duplicated all of those layers that sort of made up this whole sketch thing, and then made a new duplicate of that group, collapsed them all down into the one, and then threw the opacity down. So it's sort of a little bit more see-through and something that I can work with a little bit better. Now I want to, well, I'm really liking these kind of shapes, right? These really, really sort of sculpted. I'm going to do some sculpting stuff soon. I've been hankering for a bit of Blender sculpting, so that could be a stream coming up as well. But yeah, just some really like sculpted forms, having some fun, sort of lays the groundwork for some fun with lighting, and having some fun with invented lighting. And yeah, so just trying to keep that in mind. And I'll pull up myself as the reference as well. All right. Thumb guns. Oh, you silly bugger. You're funny. Ben, have you ever done animation? Like not character animation, or like very, very minimal sort of stuff. Like wouldn't even classify it as that. Like the reels and stuff where I use After Effects to sort of do a bit of 2D animation and that sort of stuff. That's the really only kind of thing. I'm actually looking to sort of diversify my skill set and get out and do a bit of sculpting and animating and that sort of stuff. So that'll be fun to sort of share the journey with that one as well, which will be cool. Pillows, I love your streams and shorts, amazing. Thanks so much. That's awesome to hear, because I'm always trying to make them as informative as possible, and they really help me out as well, so it's sort of like a win-win. So that's awesome to hear. All right, let's clean this whole thing up, shall we? Let's have a look. Okay, so I'm going to, first off, my brushes. I'm going to get this question a lot, so this is my second stream in a long time, and I want to keep it consistent. So forgive me if everything's not sort of smooth sailing as you might be used to with other streamers. I'll get there. All right. So brush packs, using Ahmed Outdoori's brush pack. It's free on his Gumroad, I believe, so go check that out. I'm using Photoshop, but all this stuff is kind of software agnostic, right? It doesn't really matter what software is. As long as you got sort of the basic digital painting tools, then yeah, you'll be fine following some of this stuff. So I'm going the hard elliptical in Ahmed Outdoori's brush pack. I might change it a little bit. So let's go into our brush settings. I want shape dynamics on, so I've got a little bit of a taper. Transfer. So that's the sort of opacity, or how light you press is how dark the line is. I don't want it all the way down necessarily. Let's go like halfway, let's say. And maybe shape dynamics. Do we want to do some angle? I don't know if that actually did anything. No, angle, pen tilt. Yep, that's what I want. Cool. All right, so we're doing line work here. We're going to go a little bit into sort of really cleaning up the line work, cleaning up our thinking mostly. And this might not be the final go around with the line work. If you've seen any of my time lapses, we'll do layer over layer over layer over layer. Potentially. We might hit it in this, we might get lucky and just hit it in this one shot, but I'm not holding my breath for that one. So let us begin. And yeah, feel free to chat. I'll be looking in the chat. I want to sort of keep this very conversational. I don't just want this to be like, oh, let's just watch Ben and be bored out of our minds. It'll be cool just to sort of have a chat. as we go as well. Smoothing, another one, smoothing. Excuse me as well, I'm getting over a cold, so forgive me if I have a few coughs here and there. Smoothing, great one, nice little secret weapon. All right, so say 100% smoothing is like, even if I go like really scribbly, it's gonna like smooth out the lines. I might usually go like 30%, something like that. I think it kind of replicates a brush pen in a way, how you've got like the longer nib or like the longer brush to sort of do that. I don't know, I've never done that in real life, but I've heard that's kind of something that it could replicate. All right. I thought you might have, considering how much life your art has. Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, it seems like a natural progression, I think, going from what I'm doing now to sort of animation and sculpting and that sort of stuff. So it'll be a good fun. Jose, I can't understand you right now, but it's subtitulos. So I'm going to say automatic subtitles is something that you've said. I'm not entirely sure how to turn them on, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not sure if there's an automatic setting. Unfortunately, it's something that I'm looking to figure out in the next stream, because I've been asked that before. So my apologies, Jose. I hope you enjoy watching. If you can put up with not understanding me, and you might not understand me right now, so my apologies. Hello, mate. Your work is great. Congrats. Appreciate it, Owen. Means a lot, man. All right, let's get cracking, shall we? Also, hair. Do we leave her bald? So this is so the idea, for those that don't know, is the VR versus reality, right? So she's in VR right now, like she's the player, as if you're just sitting in the lounge room watching her play. She's getting freaked out by the monster that's trying to attack her. And I'm going to draw these kind of in like a VR, maybe like a more hologrammy sort of look, to show that they're not in her actual environment. But yeah, so that's the sort of idea of this one. And then I'm going to do another one where she's kind of like just loving it. She's the actual character in the game, and she's just kicking ass and just bam, bam, bam. So yeah, do I keep it bold? I don't know. Because I mean, I do that for ease of just getting the perspective and stuff for sake at the moment, but we'll see. Beautiful thing about all this sort of stuff, we change it whenever we want. Gotta have dinner. Hopefully I can come back later to ask you how to draw females. Go for it. Enjoy your dinner. Alright. So this is sort of very therapeutic in a way, until it goes wrong, and then it's not. I like to rotate the canvas as well to sort of hit my sort of arm angle, or like my arm arc, if that makes sense, like rotating a piece of paper. So I'm just trying to sort of get these outlines feeling okay. Have a little bit of sort of weight variation here and there, just sort of keep it a little bit spicy, keep it a little bit interesting. And these sort of internal lines are a little bit lighter. I can even knock this back a little bit. So just grabbing the sensors. Now a nice little double line doesn't hurt sometimes. To sort of convey thickness of that sort of front plate of the VR headset sort of thing. There's something going wrong here. No, we'll just fix it. Now, as always, a lot of this stuff is just based in really, really simple shapes. The underlying thought process with all of this is just, yeah, super, super simple shapes. Shoulder coming through here. I want to give her some sort of tattoos maybe. Like I've got to figure out clothing as well. I'm just going to wear. Probably should have this figured out. I could be kicking myself halfway through this because I'm too eager just to sort of get the line work done. But you can laugh along as I cry if this doesn't turn out. But we'll see. Alrighty. So, starting to do some line work in here. Got the sort of pec sort of muscle coming through. Sort of blocking a little bit of the underarm and where that might connect. Trying to keep this line variation going. And it's kind of like a feel as well as with the line variation there are rhymes and reasons to where I'm putting this stuff. But a lot of the time it's just like, you'll see me just try out a line and then just be like, nah, doesn't look right, try out another one, yep. Like this, yeah. Whoop. And I don't know if you can hear the dogs. My apologies if you can. Now, I remember this mouse giving me a little bit of grief. Trying to figure out the expression, like a scared, like, oh shit, don't want to be here. This isn't as fun as I thought it would be. Get me out of this sort of thing. Teeth exposed. The feeling that I want to think about this a little bit more. Not super clear at the moment what we're looking at. Daniel Chang in your latest Instagram reel, you talk about the color layers. What does changing a layer to color actually do? Every time I Google it, it's something else. I'd honestly just try it out for yourself. Like, I don't actually know what it's doing. Right? All I know is that it changes the values underneath the underneath layers very minimally, which is super helpful. So it's a good tool for when you're doing this sort of black and white to color kind of process, if that makes sense. So there's no point in just Googling. Give it a whirl. Don't be afraid to give it a shot. Yeah, she looks kind of, yeah, I don't know. I don't like this mouth. It's not looking fantastic. We'll come back to that. We'll get the rest of the body going. Okay, so thinking about a little bit of the anatomy underneath this elbow. Right, and it's gonna be underneath the VR. Sort of controller, I guess you could say. Yeah, the VR. Simple cylinder this one is, which is nice. See, I'll hit it. Maybe I'll hit it this time. One thing I like to do as well, because at the moment it looks paper thin, right? It looks like a really thin piece of whatever. But if I do this, and do this sort of double line here. Show that it's got a little bit of thickness, right? And this will show up in the rendering as well when we do more, when we paint it up. We can really show this thickness. It just gives it a little something. It's not perfect, but I'm not going to spend super long just on this one sort of controller. Maybe we give it like a little bit of seam lines or something just to show the form somehow. Okay. Hand time. So again, thinking about this wrist as like a block, right? Then we can sort of throw the organic shapes on top of it. Tyrone Demery, love your work. I brought your pack on Gumroad and it's really the best resource I've found on character design, stylization. Oh, that's awesome. That is absolutely awesome. Thank you for saying that. Your check's in the mail. No, I'm joking. But no, that's awesome to hear. That's sick. Pillows, love this. Awesome. I'm glad, because sometimes line work can be kind of a, I don't know, I like doing it, but as a spectator sport, I don't know. Elliot, is that pure ref? What is your method for finding references? Life, style, color, etc. Pinterest is, yes, it is pure ref. Pinterest is kind of my go-to-ish. But as you'll see here, like I needed a particular feel, so I took a photo of myself. It was just quicker to get the thing I was after, or the pose that I was after, I guess. And I might, as we go here, like even with this mouth and stuff, I might do some screenshots of my mouth in a particular angle that I want it to be. Yeah, there's no super real rhyme or reason around the references that I use. It's really fit for purpose, like what's going to help me get the result that I want. And it might be different references for different things. Like I might like the lighting of something, like of a particular reference, but I like the shape and the sort of like the shape language of another piece of reference, and I might like the expression on a person's face on a real photo. So it's a matter of sort of mix and matching them to kind of get something that makes sense for what you're trying to achieve. I hope that makes sense. Now this hand does need a little bit of work. You can come back to it later. We've got the kind of handle of the controller. It's a kind of a bit of a bulbous sort of handle, but that's alright. You can imagine this is maybe like grip, or like where like this would be like one material, this would be a different kind of material, and it's just a sort of connection line between those materials. And then we can sort of make this feel more alive with like the strap. Like how would the strap go? So if she's like coming up this way with it, right, the angle, the direction is going to be here, coming up this like, oh shit, sort of thing. So this strap might sort of whip around something like that. We can add a little bit of thickness to it. Let's think about this. So let's say this is our guide, right? It's a very one-dimensional sort of line at the moment. Let's add some thickness. Going to be like a ribbon. That's how I'm thinking about it. And maybe the connector that goes to like the smaller sort of string. Something like that. I don't know, you see me swap and change things around all the bloody time. Alright. So here for the eraser, I'm just using like a soft round eraser, or soft round brush. It seems to work well. So there's nothing too fancy with the brushes that I use, at least at the moment. Okay, so here you can see that I'm thinking about the sort of anatomy of the arm underneath, right? So we've got the elbow, which is a bone, so this is like a hard thing, right? Now if we were to kind of x-ray through this arm from memory, which is going to be a little bit tricky, so you'd have something like this kind of thing going on. Right, simplified what right down. It's like a hinge. Right, so I'm thinking about that. Even in the stylized stuff, right? And because this is kind of like the arm is sort of bent, this muscle here is going to sort of push out a little bit. Let's see if we can indicate that being behind that bone. See, so it kind of gives it a bit of dimension, even being super subtle with the line work, like with no real shading or anything. It's all about sort of like the what's in front and what's behind. Who are my main inspirations for art? Well, how long do we have? There are a lot of people that inspire me, even sort of like it sounds a bit wanky, but like on a daily basis, right? Sort of going through Instagram. But off the top of my head, who do I say? So I've got JC Leindecker, like absolutely old master. Absolutely love his stuff. Check his stuff out. TB Choi, another awesome, like line work and character design. Oof, one of the best. Jin Kim, another fantastic Disney character designer. Who else? Probably think of a bunch of others as we go. So I'm using stream beats at the moment as well, like the music that you're hearing. I don't know if any of you guys have played the original, like the Sims. This is giving me real like Sims vibes, like the loading screens, particularly with the piano. And it just finished, so yeah. Alright, so I've got her leg coming through here and sort of going back in space. And I like to use actually these kind of crease lines. Like I'm just going to decide she's wearing jeans now. Why, I don't know, but it's the way it's going to be. So, but actually use the seam lines to your advantage to show the form. And now it's sort of moving back in space. We'll figure out that section in a sec. Even the inner seam. Alright, so it's going to be going backwards this way. Backwards this way in space. Right. Say heck, what's happening? What's happening, man? How are ya? I wonder if I can show. Now I've got to stop my habit of zooming in and out because I'm sure as you're watching this, it's kind of a little bit annoying. So I might actually turn off scrubby zoom. Now I'm thinking here, how can I show that these, let's say, how can I bolster the idea that this leg is going back in space, like it's a cylinder that's going back in space, right? How can I show that even more? Oh God. So maybe I can even change the angle of this foot just a tad. So we're kind of looking up on it a little bit. I don't know. So then it's sort of, if we were to simplify this down, the cylinder's going back in space like this. And then you've got the other leg, or the lower leg, sort of coming down in space like that. I don't know. We'll flip the canvas. Yeah, that works, I think. See how we go. Oh, awesome, man. Doing some 3D stuff. Yeah, I'm going to start doing that soon. Sort of set, like, doing the concept first, like this, for example. And then we'll throw it into Blender. And then we'll see how we go. I love situations here, right, where I can show different sides of an object. So you can see the underneath of the heel. Right? How would that go? That would sort of come in. Right, so then you've got side of the foot here, pinky toe, and the other toes. It sort of gives you the opportunity to show different side, like different planes, I guess you could say. Lex. What's happening? Now we have a little tangent issue here. So you see we've got the leg here, right? If we follow that leg, it's going to follow into this line here, but this line here could also be misconstrued as the line for this calf on this leg as well, which makes it kind of confusing. So how can we remedy this? Good question. I don't know yet. We've sort of got to pick one and adjust. Or we move the calf up a little bit higher. That could be the solution maybe. And then we can show this line cutting through there. Yeah, it's a complicated section, this whole section. I haven't made it easy for myself. Taking some cues from other artists that I like their line work, where there could potentially be a shadow, like underneath here. Throw in a bit of a dark line, maybe even because she's holding onto her leg here, throw in a bit of a shadow there. Maybe seeing the underside of the calf, like if we're going to run a center line, for example, through the back of the heel up through the back of the leg, we would say that's the sort of back of the calf, right? So we want to keep that in mind, particularly for rendering. So I might just throw a nice little indication there that that's sort of rounded. And because now we're looking down on this foot here just ever so slightly, not a bad idea to sort of do it. Oop, where's my dark colour going to go? Not a bad idea to sort of wrap it around the calf there as well. Yeah. Oh God. All right. I think we do a bit of surgery and knock this down a tad. Don't be afraid to do that either. I used to be so adverse to, if I can't just draw it straight up, don't do it. It's digital. There's like why wouldn't you? Doesn't make any sense. Okay, now I've got to make some more decisions as well. We're cleaning up our thinking as we're cleaning up our line work. This hand, all right? This hand is coming towards us a little bit, all right? From this elbow, it's coming towards us, but it's going to be behind this arm, or this hand, sorry. So I might actually put the glute here in front of the controller. Because I don't want it to be super accurate with it. I want it to be like panicked and be like, ah, frick, and just like shooting off everywhere. look at this hand. Come on. That'll do. Now I might come back and be more technical with how the actual controllers are working and that kind of stuff, and make sure that the trigger and things are in the exact right spot, but at the moment I'm cool with this level of detail. Okay, other hand time. Let's try and find the palm, or like the block of the hand. See if we can find that a little bit clearer. Sometimes I even need to just remove underneath completely, just to get a clearer idea of sort of what I'm trying to achieve. Alright. Now this is a perfect situation to actually get a piece of reference. So I'll take my own advice, and that is what I will do. Got a controller here, haven't been using it this whole time. But what I want to do is, let's go. Okay, at what angle am I trying to achieve this? Is it that? Oh, let's look at her. So, oh, I'm confused. I'm very confused. So if we've got, because I'm looking at myself mirrored as well. So we've got that one there, then we would need this hand like that. Oh, hold on. Or I can just flip it, hey. Let's do something like that. Let me just screenshot it and we'll throw it into Pure. I think. Yeah, bugger. That'll do. Okay. Let's chuck that into Pure. And let's continue. Yeah, I think that's right, hey. Yep. So if we... Yep, good enough. See, I've actually got the controllers around the wrong way here, which I don't really care that much about, to be honest. That's fine. All right, so we are going to try and find. Yeah, let's get rid of this. Does that fit? Yeah, that fits. Let's clean it up. So this is where I might. Oh, what am I going to do? New layer. Let's cut that from there. Let's paste it below. Then use our main inking layer, I guess, to make this feel a little bit more just better. Notice I go very quiet when I'm drawing hands. Got to concentrate. Okay, the hand's too big, but apart from that, feeling okay. Feeling not too shabby. So then we have to put the same kind of controller in her hand at the same angle as the other one. I feel like that's a little bit too big. Yep, way too big. Let's do another bit of surgery. Look at that. Alright, let's have a look, see how this is feeling. Yeah, it's still a little bit big. Because it's further away from us and it's further away than this one, it should be slightly smaller. Peter Griffinson, what studio have you worked for and is currently working at? I don't know if I can say anything about the one that I've currently done work for most recently because I'm under NDA, but apart from that one, none, to be perfectly honest. Not worked for a studio. Only and that work that I got through a studio that I mentioned just before, that was all just through growing a bit of a following on Instagram. That they sort of found my work and sort of reached out, which is pretty cool. Apologies if this is feeling boring. Just the hands just bend my mind sometimes, so I just go into my happy place and yeah, but we should be coming out of this pretty soon. What's everyone else working on? Talk to me. Thanks for the inspiration and all the advice you share. Of course, Peter. Of course. Thanks for popping in. Means a lot. Saek, would you mind if I draw you in a Disney style? How dare you? That would be so disrespectful. Of course I don't mind. Go for it, man. That'd be cool. Cylinder. I kind of like the wobbly look of the cylinder, like if it's not perfect. I like the controller. Okay. I want to try stuff with this stream as well, right? I don't just want this to be necessarily, I'm going to draw and just stream. I might do challenges, might do sort of critiquey kind of stuff. That could be cool. Just got to figure out all the logistics of that. Like, I'll probably have to set up a Discord at some stage. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be folding this into my routine. Might even, what I thought might be cool, I don't know, let me know if you think this is a good idea or not. But sort of figuring out how I would break down different styles. So like we sort of learn a style together and try and like really analyze it, figure out why the artist might be doing what they're doing, and see if we can come out with something that we can all sort of learn at the same sort of pace. I wonder if that'd be interesting to anyone. I'm gonna try it out. Most content that I put out is like experiments, so we'll see how we go. But even like the sculpting stuff, I think that could be cool. Like sort of figuring stuff out as I go with that, and sharing what I find, and sort of folding it into the whole. Like we create our character, then we can make it in 3D, and that'd be cool. And I think it's a good idea as well to sort of diversify your skill set. Which would be cool, just to explore. Wahoo, that would be cool, awesome. Well, look forward to a lot more, because I quite enjoy this. And then I've got to figure out how to turn these into YouTube videos. So then maybe we'll do sort of segments potentially, where I sort of dive a bit deeper into one topic or one technique or something. Got a lot of streamers that are doing that nowadays, sort of doing the two-in-one. All right, this hand, that'll do for now. The wrist is all over, wonky all over the place, all over the place, but it's fine for now. Now, at the moment, it looks like she's naked because she's got no top on, or like naked from the top up. Let's throw, I don't know, what sort of clothes? Got not a clue. I mean, do we do like just like a tank top sort of thing, so you can see a little bit of that up here, and then something like that. I don't know. Let's just roll with that for now. just getting there. Slowly getting there. All right, rendering these tentacles is going to be fun. I wonder how we'll tackle this, whether we would actually render, so I'm just trying to think out loud at the moment because I'm on stream, but if we render them full on first, so as if they're in the scene, and then maybe try and tweak them to look like they're kind of like, if you imagine what am I trying to say? VR. What's the thing where hologram sort of thing? Maybe that could work. To both save time and yeah, just be more efficient. I'm a big proponent of efficiency. Alright, just a bit of surge around here. And now we'll be able to really see in a sec when I knock back this underlying sketch work to see how the line work's holding up. Where can I make changes? I like giving characters like facial blemishes as well, or like things that signifying them, like moles and things like that. I don't know, it just sort of adds a little bit of personality as well. Just something to think about. All right, so think about the jeans pocket. That's what we're missing, so that can wrap around maybe. Just make this leg here a little bit thicker. That line just to delineate that this leg is in front. You know what the sad thing is, we're going to paint over all these lines, but this is just for practice. I might experiment, I'd like to experiment sort of keeping the line work in maybe, in like a future illustration. That could be cool. Could be part of that style experimentation maybe. That could be a cool thing to sort of have a play around with. I wonder if this would actually be touching the leg. Let's see if that looks... Yeah, that works. That's working. You know, I'd like to... This is all messy, this is all over the place. I'd like to have it so as... See how I just like ironed out the complexity there? To sort of keep it super simple. Now I like to have it so you can see her jeans. Right, you see the belt buckle potentially. this would be skin, and then you know how, like, because she's jumping up, like gravity would lift the shirt up a little bit. Just trying to think of ways, like I did with this little tassel thing here, think of ways to show that movement, if that makes sense. And depending on the lighting, that could be a good sort of place for some subsurface scattering, or sort of being able to see through the shirt somehow because it's thinner. I don't know, maybe with the rim light coming through. Nah, that needs to come out further, I think. So maybe I don't want it to interfere with the hand here too much. Losing the illusion of thickness here. So let's see if we can get that back. Yeah, some looks weird. I think it's this back here. There's no overlap. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, getting there. It's got some dimension, got some things going for it. Still not super happy about this underarm part. Let's see if we can add some thickness to the material there, while also keeping Sayak, what's your plan today after streaming? That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know actually. I might keep doing some more work, sort of figure out some more reels. That'd be good if you guys can give me some reel ideas while we're here. Might do a bit of drumming. I've sort of recently gotten into, I don't know if you can see a couple of the drums here. Recently got stuck into a bit of that, which I like to play around with every now and then, particularly if I'm rendering video and my computer. I can't use my computer because it's rendering. I just sort of turn around, have some fun on the drums, and yeah, it's fantastic fun. Highly recommend it. Okay, so something I've noticed as well here. I mean, this is, I'm getting like real nitpicky here, right? You notice the width of the leg here and the width of the leg here. I think this width should be a little bit thinner because it's going back in space. Maybe, could be wrong. So let's try it out. What about you, Sayek? What's your plans after sort of doing your 3D work? Yeah, I think this leg can even come in a little bit because if we follow it, there's like a hip in here, right? So the hip would follow around there, and I don't think that leg would be that high. So I'm trying to like, without it sounding weird, like see through things, like trying to imagine what's actually going on underneath some of this stuff. Yeah, I think that little knee poke there really sort of gives me more depth. So actually seeing that knee might not be 100% accurate, but oh well. It doesn't, I mean, neither are the size of her hands or like her mouth, so it doesn't really matter. All right. Give a little indication that she sort of jumped. Some little shadow scribble. And then we might get back the squid hands, or the tentacles, sorry, I should say. Now is actually probably a good time to get some tentacle reference. So let's go on to Pinterest. Now unfortunately, because there tends to be some nudity on Pinterest, I don't want to risk it with YouTube and the streaming and all that sort of stuff, but I'm just going to sort of start throwing some things in PureF. This will be good rendering examples as well. They're all red for some reason. Good old mate here, it's pretty cool. Alright, that can maybe just be enough just to give me an idea. I'm not too far off. There seems to be like two sets that sort of follow it down. Alright, cool. Let us begin the tentacle adventure. See, trying to still get some of that line weight, as well as having things like the same thing can cross over itself, if that makes sense. So this tentacle here, I want to show that it crosses over itself. Same here. Maybe this goes flat, this on the floor, and then we have like the, whatever they're called, the suckers on the floor. Right, so they seem to go all the way up. Bloody creepy things. So I kind of, what I'm doing here is I want to show some dimension. Again, these can be thought of like each of these sort of suckers, I guess, I don't know what the word is for them. You can just think of the actual circle of it as if it's attached to like a sphere. Not a sphere, a kind of cylinder. Like they're kind of a really flat cylinder, almost like a coin, right? They are concave though, so they sort of go in. You can even think of them like that. See how just doing that gives it depth? Just the placement of that inner circle. And that same if we did it here. Right? So that's what I'm thinking about. Now, I've got you actually seeing the underside of this tentacle, so these are going to be facing more towards us, these ones. I'm not going to worry about doing the line work perfect here. See how it sort of like twists around? Well, which gives it a little bit more dimension. They get pretty large as they sort of start coming up further to the body. fantastic, but we can fix this later. This is just sort of giving me an idea of where I can take it. Okay. How are we looking? Photoshop. Okay. Cool. I can see some sort of background, sort of framing the action, which could be cool. Sort of like compositionally. Yeah, cool. Now hair, that's another thing. Do we keep her bald? What do you reckon? Shane Olsen. Hey there, Ben. Big fan of your work. I love your breakdowns. Thank you very much, Shane. That means a lot. Raina Rodriguez. Hey Ben, love your work. I was wondering if you have always drawn characters in a stylized form. What do you recommend, realism or stylization while learning fundamentals? Raina. Actually, is this 3D Raina on Instagram? I can't see the avatar very well. But if you're learning fundamentals, so when you're thinking about fundamentals, what are you thinking of? Like, just fundamentals of drawing? I think, because I started off drawing really realistic, right? There's actually probably a good good spot just to take a break, right? We've done a bit of the line work, and then let's change up the pace, and let's answer Raina Rodriguez's question, because I think it'll be easier to actually show what I mean. So I'm just pulling up Instagram here, and I'll show you my earlier work to give you an idea of where I started and where I'm at the moment. Alright, so we'll get back to the drawing definitely, but basically I started doing only realism, right? And I got really frustrated. Like once I sort of got proficient at that, or at least to enough degree that I was like, yeah, I can pretty much do this okay. I got really frustrated because that transition from realism to stylization was a very tricky one, and it still is, right? I still have a lot to learn. But I think my foundations in realism did help me understand stylization, because all the foundations, like all this sort of stuff, the planes of the face and that kind of thing, that all came from my understanding of realism beforehand. I don't think it's necessary, and of course Instagram's gonna not want to show me my old stuff. But yeah, I think doing a bit of both makes sense, right? Because if you're going straight into stylization, in my opinion, if I went straight into stylization, I wouldn't understand so much of what's going on underneath, if that makes sense. So I would, but even so, like these are all suggestions, right? Because I only have my experience. I don't think it's the right or wrong way to do it. One thing I would get really good at from a drawing perspective, fundamentals wise, is just getting good at understanding forms in 3D space, regardless of if they're realistic or stylized. That is going to be a lot more beneficial, I think. Particularly, say for example, if you're trying to learn more about anatomy, right? If you're going to draw a little bit more anatomy, I think it's more important to be able to draw the forms and simplify them down rather than understand all the individual names and muscle groups and that kind of thing. If you can simplify things down and draw like the rib cage or the pec muscle and how it goes into the deltoid muscle and that kind of stuff, if you can draw them like very simplified, and you can understand that shape in 3D space, and then you can manipulate it however you want, I think that's more important than learning realism or stylization, because that's really what you're talking about with the fundamentals. You can take that any which way that you want, right? I hope that makes sense. I'm rambling a bit, but yeah, I would say do a bit of both. Do a bit of both and sort of get a bunch of artists that you really enjoy the stylization of, and try and reverse engineer why they're doing things, because it's very easy to, or quote unquote very easy to copy their style, but to understand why they're doing certain stuff, and then placing that style on top of your own, like that understanding, I guess what I'm trying to say, on top of your own style or your own character or your own your own thing. You're going to learn a heck of a lot more doing that as well. So I hope that this ramble makes sense. Essentially it depends, but I reckon try both. Right? Try both, but at the core of everything, the fundamentals are always going to hold true regardless of if you're doing realism or stylization, in my opinion. And it's taken forever to load. But basically I was just going to show you like a bunch of my realistic stuff. This is actually in the transition period of me doing stylized work, right? See, it's kind of in that like no man's land of kind of caricature, kind of realism, kind of like I basically just put big eyes on them, right? Without really thinking too much about the underneath, like the structure. And then it sort of started to evolve, and then here I was like, okay, I have to understand more. Failed to load, of course. Thank you. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. Shane Olsen, I'm a 3D character artist. I would love to collab with you sometime. Sounds good, man. Sounds cool. Sayak, my plan today is working at the animation studio until 8 PM. And after that, I'll quick study, sketch, drawing you. Fantastic. Awesome. Pixie cut. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Do a sort of pixie cut sort of deal, maybe like Catwoman, like the latest Catwoman sort of style, sort of thing, maybe. Let's see. Variety of realism, stylism is the spice of life. Yeah, try both. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But I think the fundamentals are gonna carry you through, no matter what program you use. Even with 3D stuff, like you've got to understand a little bit about lighting, anatomy. Like even when I've tried to do some more 3D sculpting and that kind of stuff, I think it would be wise to get your fundamentals down regardless. Catwoman playing video games is a mood, you know it. Thanks. What's the best way to get a hold of you? DM me through Instagram. Just the Ben Eblin design. This one. Oop. So. All right. Now, hair. That's right. Hair. Let's take a look at Catwoman. Let's turn this Christmas music off. Okay, that'll do something different. Alrighty. That's it, Catwoman. Catwoman hairstyle. Because then we can have the badass version, sort of. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Catwoman hairstyle. It really doesn't give me what I'm after. Who was she? Has anyone got a name for me? Catwoman. What's her face? What's his face's daughter? Kravitz. Something Kravitz. Catwoman. Kravitz. There we go. I'm not even sure if that. There we are. Yeah. Let's try this. Whoop. Lost my PRF. Where's my PRF? Here we are. Bam. This could be more along the lines of what I'm thinking of. Something like that. So it allows me to actually show a little bit. You won't be seeing much, but just a little bit on the silhouette where the hair will actually sort of come through the sort of strap on the top. That could be cool. Or I'll completely change it at some point later. You never know. The rendering stage is anything goes. Yeah, cool. That gives me enough. Alrighty. Zoe Kravitz, thank you, Shane. I got there eventually. Halle Berry. Same thing. Let's just throw a Halle Berry one there. That made me laugh. But no, yep, that makes sense. Was she Catwoman? I don't know. I don't watch enough stuff to know. I can't find anything. Oh, you know what? Is any Ben is a type of artist to run dual monitors. You know it. Is there any other way? My other passion is development, like coding and development. So the two monitor setup is a must. Yeah, has anyone seen? I've been watching Mythic Quest. Has anyone seen that? Please tell me someone has watched that. It's freaking fantastic. Highly recommend it. It's on Apple, whatever Apple's thing is, Apple Plus TV thingy-majiggy. All right, let's throw some of these. Let's throw some hair into the mix, shall we? We're back. No, it looks like no one's seen the Mythic Quest, so I can't talk about it, but yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough, Shane. It's very, it gives me very Silicon Valley vibes. Silicon Valley, yeah, it's one of those ones where it really grew on me. The writing just got a lot better, it seemed, as the sort of characters developed and that sort of stuff. There you go, nice and simple. Simple rendering, don't have to do any crazy curls or anything like that. We can even do like, along those lines. And maybe something, I think the forehead's sort of jumping out a little bit too much here maybe. Yeah, that looks better. So you give some interest in the silhouette. That makes sense. Only Netflix cable here. Into Avenue 5 right now. Has an actor from Silicon Valley, I think. Oh, cool! I've not seen Avenue 5. Snowfix, we're back again. How you doing? Wait, you were in the last stream, weren't you? I think from memory. That was a late one. I was getting a little bit delirious, so I could be wrong. Cool. So we got some. Is that? No, that's all right. Okay. Now I think I've got to fix this mouth, but I don't know how to fix a mouth. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Oh, the volume of the mic. Thank you very much. Is this better? Let me know if this is better. I'm still getting used to this whole streaming setup. Uh-oh. Oh, we're back. I just accidentally put it on freaking screensaver mode. Do you find males or females easy to draw? I'm just struggling with women. Just struggling with women. Neither really, to be perfectly honest. Because I mean, because I'm thinking of them, because I'm trying to break them down into simplified shapes. Shapes are shapes, if that makes sense. So it doesn't really bother me too much if I'm drawing a female or a male. So I can fairly easily turn this into a male just by changing or have more masculine features. Like, see it's like very slender arms, right? Very slender arms. Even like if you change the fingers a little bit, these are kind of like in the middle. So I might actually like slender them out just a tad. But yeah, there's little things you can do, like the legs are a tiny bit skinny. I would beef them up a little bit for the male, for a male, maybe. I mean, you look at my last VR to reality to VR versus reality. That guy's skinny as, but it still looks like a male, if you know what I mean. So yeah, once you start simplifying things down into shapes, it really doesn't matter too much. At least for me. At least for me. I'm more interested and more excited about the situation they're in or the character that I'm drawing rather than if they're a male or a female, if you know what I mean. Yeah, Shane, 100%, 100%. And that's something that, like, when I figured that out, it was just like the matrix opened. And like, it's almost like that's when I started to have fun with stuff. It became really, like, even more fun than before. Because everything is just shapes. It is just shapes. Oh, it could be construed as like a little bit of an oversimplification, but in essence, that's what I'm trying to think about. All the time, everything's just shapes. Now she looks almost a little bit too zombie-ish with her. Like she's got a quite an underbite cranking right here. So I might just sort of do a bit more surgery and knock the jaw back a, want to draw back a tad. Yeah, this mouse is giving me a headache. And you'll see as well, I am sure when I get to the rendering, it's things are going to change, guaranteed. This song's got giving me a little bit of Linkin Park vibes. Yes, this mouth is going to change, guaranteed. Yes, the ultimate power. Yeah, you know it, Shane. I've been trying to break down references of females and I kind of succeed, but likeness is forever lost. One day, hope. Dope Travis Barker piece, by the way. Those flailing arms are a great touch. Thank you. That's actually one of those things that I changed at the last minute kind of thing. Like, it was looking too stiff. And yeah, that was a good fun one. Note on the likeness takes freaking forever sometimes, right? If there's something I've learned about likeness, it's one of those things that you can just nail sometimes, depending on the person or just the day or whatever. But sometimes it's just a freaking uphill battle because you got to tend with like, oh, how stylized do you want to go with it? Do you want to go super stylized or not? How close to the reference do you want it to be? Because even if you look at some of these, take like Fortnite, for example. Sometimes Fortnite will do characters and try and get their likeness. It kind of looks like them, but if you took all the clothes off of them and all the assets and you just looked at their face, I don't think it would necessarily look like them. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So there's like there's such a spectrum of like how stylized and how caricature and how realistic you want to go with it. And I have fun sort of playing with that line, but it can definitely be frustrating. So please don't let that discourage you from just keep iterating on it. Because I tell you what, there's been some which that I've worked on that have tested my patience, and hopefully that gets better with time, and I'm sure it will, but still. But other times you have to crack the code. 100%, yeah. And sometimes you're like 1 or 2 numbers off of cracking that code, right? Sorry, I'll read it. I always compare compare figuring out the likeness to cracking a safe. Sometimes you can get lucky, but other times you have to crack the code, 100%. And sometimes you get so close to that code and then you crack the code and then you go for a coffee and the wind blows the door back closed, and then you forget the code and then you got to start over again because you tweaked one thing and then another thing and another thing, and then it just, yeah, goes to shit basically. But it's still good fun. Still really, really, really good fun. And it was interesting, the studio that actually reached out to me through IG was interested in that particular skill set, was being able to sort of keep the likeness to a certain degree. So I think that is an in-demand skill to spend your time learning. Look at those sexy chompers. Yeah, I don't know about sexy. I don't know what kind of chompers you're into, but I don't know. It kind of wasn't what I was going for, but I mean, it is what it is right now. Story of my bloody life, but yeah. So true, so subtle. Yeah, I know, man. Are you going to do one more cleanup pass? Maybe, or I'm going to be impatient and I'm going to regret it, and I'll just jump straight into the rendering stage. But I should probably do one more cleanup pass, but I mean, it's kind of a gamble, right? And I am a gambling man, so probably just go straight into the rendering and we'll clean up stuff after. And then you'll see in the captions when I post this as a sketch note. One big mistake I found was not figuring out enough stuff in the line work phase. But that's alright, this is on stream. Got to entertain at the same time, just can't be doing bloody line work forever. Well, I think line work's fun. I like watching people do line work. Reminder, make sure layers are all G. Haha. Sorry, I don't know what you mean. All good. All good. Love how square those fingers are. Thanks, man. Yeah, look, I enjoy the square fingers because they're the closest thing to a rectangle, and I can very easily visualize a rectangle in 3D space and sort of start moving the fingers around in 3D space. So that's a little inside baseball tip for those of you. If you're struggling with fingers, rectangle them up. Chris Designer, welcome Chris. Shape language is incredible, Ben. Happy to see you stream. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, going to be streaming a lot more, and really appreciate the kind words. It's a mix, a bunch of my different inspirations to come up with this sort of shape language, I guess. And it's going to evolve as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it'll change over time. It's a real balance with some of this sort of stuff as well, like the headset. How detailed do I want to go? Like, do I want to throw in like the strap here? This is all just making stuff up to make it more interesting. But then does that muddy it? No, I think that works. And then we can actually carry that through. That could be cool. Instead of just having this random strap at the back, we can then carry this strap through to have an overlap between the shoulder. And then shabam. And that's the thing holding it on her head. A quick tip as well, but I only found this out recently in Photoshop. If you're on the brush, right, and you want to just erase with that same brush and not have to go to like the eraser tool and like use the eraser, hold the tilde key, the little squiggly thing. Hold that one down and you can then draw and then erase using the same brush without going to the eraser, which is just like a nice quick tip, particularly for line work as well. That saves a frick ton of time. Now this gives me opportunity to sort of fold the hair over. I think that might need to wrap around a little bit. Yeah, it's coming too straight out. I look back at the other day's stream as well. I make some weird faces when I'm drawing. I didn't realize. Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, that'll do. Bugger it. Yeah, cool. That's a question for you, Shane. I'd also love to know, like, from you guys that are watching, because I'm sort of new to this whole streaming stuff, from the people that you watch that stream, what do you enjoy? All right, because this is just as much as about, I feel, entertainment and sort of being like keeping the interest up, as much as it is just like, this is how to draw XYZ thing. All right, I want to learn the ways of the streamer and YouTuber. Might even do some realism stuff, fold it into the mix to show how I might think about using realism as reference, rendering realistic things, that sort of stuff. Okay, tattoos and stuff. What can we give her? What sort of Easter eggy sort of things could we do? There's a star. Could also give like a little bit of rips to the jeans, something like that. A bit of interest there. But being careful not to overdo it. Okay. Oh, do we dive in? Do we take the gamble? Do we just go straight into rendering? I say yes. Let's spend the next maybe 45 minutes. I've been streaming every Monday for about 4 years on the Pixelogic channel. My advice is to try and pay attention to chat as much as possible. That's what I try to do anyway. You're doing great. Thanks, Shane. Yeah, well, there we go. I'm trying to do it right now. Rye creates. Welcome, Rye. I love watching artists stream to honestly just see their process. Keeping conversation going is always fun. Awesome. Well, that's what I hope to do. Is sort of keep an eye on the chat and juggle drawing at the same time, which is definitely a skill that I'm trying to figure out. It's good fun though. Okay, let's start doing the boring part of. Does it have to be boring? I don't know. Can we speed it up somehow? I want to get a base shape around this character, right? I'm not going to do the tentacles today, I don't think. I'm just going to focus on the character. I want to get a base shape around it. Now, if all my lines were closed in, I could just do a nice little magic wand tool and go that route, which we could be doing a bit of trial and error there. Just trying to see if there's any. There should be some sort of thing just to be like, yeah, this is it, like guesses. This is pretty much what I want filled in. I think maybe Clip Studio does that. I've seen that about the place. Not boring. Let's see it. All right. Let's get stuck into it. Okay, just trying to close up these gaps. Closing up, closing up, closing up. So Shane, you said Pixelogic, you're working in ZBrush, yeah? Do you do all your colors on an underlayer? I do the first part of my colors on an underlayer. Then I'll end up just straight up painting over the top of it, if that makes sense. So it just sort of gives me a good base. And if I wanted to keep this line work, I might just keep them all as the underlayer. But I'm thinking this would be fun to sort of render out more like, have it more look like it's kind of 3D, if that makes sense. Okay. I wonder if this is going to be enough to make old Photoshop happy. Close this gap. All right, we'll give it a whirl. Let's go. Oop. Magic wand. Ta-da. Oh, I didn't do too bad. I think. Nice. All right, so what I'll do is I'll get rid of everything else. Hold on, I think I'm confused. Do I go invert? There we go, that's better. Yep. Invert it. Bam! Look at that. And for some reason in the new Photoshop, they've hidden the paint bucket tool, which is annoying. All right, cool, that's what I'm after. So we will come and we'll just do a standard gray, like a neutral sort of gray color to begin with. Now, how does that read? That's another good question. How does that read? We need to cut some things out of here, of course. So it'll come through, select that, that. I need to close some gaps here. Alrighty, yep, all right. Close gaps here, close the gap there. Magic wand, please work, thank you. And delete. Need to remove this guy here. Yep. Okay, how are we looking? Yeah, look, it will do. I reckon we'll keep moving forward. There's nothing glaringly obvious that I dislike. Yeah, it's a bit of a... Oh, cool, you posted a link. I'll have to check it out. I'll check it out after the stream. It's a bit of a crumpled silhouette, but I think it was... Yeah, it is a bit. I think the lighting is gonna... I'm gonna utilize rim lights to show depth and dimension, particularly on that far leg, I think. That's gonna help me out. And yeah, we'll see how we go. I think I might also be missing a shoulder here somewhere. Or would that? It's hard to say, really. That is something that I'll throw in the rendering stage. We'll just leave it as is now. Okay, now if we're doing this like quote unquote properly or cleanly, I would actually go through and separate out the individual, let's say, materials. So let's grab all the skin. Now, if I wanted to be really meticulous with this, I would get the old, the pen tool. Alright, so just a slightly different color. Maybe I'll make it a little bit lighter, just so we can see it. So we'll do the pen tool. Generally gives me better results. What am I looking for? Skin. Oh, we could, let's just do the hand and we'll do the face separate. And because we're going to use that below shape as a clipping mask, we can do things like that and just sort of go outside the lines there without it messing us up too much. A little bit of a break in the hand there, but I'll fix that later. I gotta make it a selection. Make selection. No, invert that selection. Make it a clipping mask. Bam. Yeah, she gives me kind of like a sort of Terminator girl lady vibes. Terminator girl lady, you know what I'm talking about? Like the mum. Make a selection, okay. No, invert the selection for some reason. Why it inverts it, I don't know. All right, so then we need the face. And the skin there. Sarah Connor, that's the one. So we have a section here. Okay, now we've got, I guess, the skin on. Yeah, let's classify that as all the same thing. Okay. Now the cool thing about separating these sort of materials up is that we can actually manipulate them however we want. So I can now go, okay, I want to start as like a base, like a lighter base skin color, or a darker base skin color. Then we can just use this as a mask to then, we can even save this as a mask. Something that I've only recently started to play around with is actually saving selections as, like, I didn't even know you could do that. So you've got this whole shape that is her, right? We can select that. Let's go up into select and save selection. And let's just call it whole body. Okay. Now, whenever we want that selection, instead of having to come, as we get more and more layers, instead of having to come back to this particular layer, we can just go select, load selection, whole body, bam, then we got that selection. Then we can do, you guessed it, the same for the skin. Now we do skin selection. Cool. So then if we ever, even at the point, like this kind of falls apart if you change things, but say if we keep everything pretty much the same and you get to the rendering stage and you're like, all right, I just want to work on the skin, and the skin's pretty much stayed the same, load up the selection and then you're sort of good to go. That's a nice little Photoshop tip for you. All right, let's do the teeth here. Teeth and gums in the same one, I think. Yeah, that'll do. And the tongue. Yeah, just do mouth. Let's call it. Alright. Then you can start to get tricky with the selections, right? So say this is skin and this is mouth. So we wanted to get the like the hair, for example. Let's just get the VR goggles. I'm gonna pencil this one. Too far, too far. Okay. So we'll just call this goggles. Now let's say we wanted the hair, right? And just to make this clearer, let's darken the goggles up. Oh no, I didn't. Oh, it gives me a heart attack if I didn't fill the selection. No, invert. Thank you. Okay. So now we've got that selection. We can see we need to add a little bit more here. So we can just come in with the inking brush. Let's say we want to get the hair. What we can do is we can select this, select the skin, then invert that selection. I think. Maybe I'm going crazy. Actually, no, it's going to be difficult. I did it one day and it worked out fantastically, but off the top of my head, I can't figure out how to do it. So we'll just painstakingly go and we'll just grab the hair like this. Maybe going a little bit over the lines. What technique's that, Shane? The sort of separating things out? Hair, not Harry, we'll call it hair. Yeah, maybe give it darker hair, like we said for the original Zoe character. And let's maybe even, so we got, no, wrong. Hair, select. Hey. All right. We've got that selected. Then we go sweat or frick. Okay, so negate. So I've just negated the skin. So theoretically, you'll see this here disappear. Ta-da! So now they're perfectly butt up against each other. Alright. Looks a bit jank at the moment because of the line work, but we'll fix that up later. Let's keep the hair there. Let's line up the goggles. And the mouth is annoying me. So let's do something with the mouth. Let's add the teeth. So this is a very systematic way of, like, approach of doing it. It's somewhat boring, sort of going through this process. It does save me time, but it's not as like flowy. Like, I'll do some painterly stuff at some stage as well, where it's just going for it. And yeah, just having fun, just going straight up with paint. Because this isn't the most entertaining thing to be watching. Okay, let's throw some brighter teeth in there so she doesn't look so, oh god. Okay, now it's kind of looking like better. Not perfect, but at least they look like teeth-ish now. Still looks a little bit too hard, like intense. Like I don't know. Oh. We'll have a play around with it. Okay, so what else do we have to do? Jeans, controllers, and shirt or tank top. I think I might do like a white tank top. Then maybe give us some tattoos to sort of give a bit of color in there, a bit of variety. So let's do the tank top. Now the cool thing with like white clothing is that it can take on a lot of the environment that it's surrounded in. Like, for example, if you're out in daylight, you're wearing, like, say a clear day, for example, and you're wearing a white top and you're in the shade, that white top is going to appear very blue because of the ambient light of the blue sky. So you can do some cool things with white clothing. I actually like the line work on this one, like seeing if we can keep it somehow, maybe. See how we go. This could also be a time to knock back the background color. So if we want to, let's say, group these, so duplicate that group just to sort of save our progress as we go. And then let's why is this not working? Okay, there you go. Yeah, having just something other than stark white can help judge these color relationships as well. Could even be cool to have it in more of a dark, like a dark room. I mean, if I wanted to go ham with this, I could do like a full living room setup behind her. Maybe. We'll see how we go. All right, now we got the jeans and the controllers. All right, home stretch. Let's do it. Let's do. And I found a little gap here that is nothing, which could be a bit of a chin maybe, or it could be white from her shirt. Interesting. Okay. Alrighty. Bloody speed. Pen tooling. No. Okay, that'll be most of the pants. Still have a little bit on the corner there. There's got to be a setting to invert that by default. Okay. Yeah, it's coming together slowly but surely. I'm a fan so far. You wait, give us another few hours and I can mess it up quick smart. This little knee bit. Okay, then we'll come to the underneath shape. I'm just going to cut this bit out. Wrong. I'm going to go to the line work, select that, then go to the base layer and cut that bit out. Yeah, maybe that chin needs to be there. Ay. Nah, it looks too like she got such an underbite. I want it more to be like surprise, like get away from me sort of thing. That's something we're gonna need to fix. Like that kind of thing. All right, let's make some funny faces. Get some reference. All right. Get the screen capture ready. That's angry. What's scared? Oh God. Oh, my Lanta, on YouTube forever. Gotta round her out, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's too, probably a bit too angular. See, it's interesting here. I don't think Catwoman reference would be super handy at the moment because I'm just trying to get the, like, unless she was in this particular like kind of scenario with her like mouth, I don't think it would help that much. So maybe, so yeah, it's a drawing issue. A drawing issue on the face. So can we fix it with surgery? So let's turn off the teeth, mouth, and skin. Yeah, you sort of see that. Oh, good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, we're back. Thanks, Shane. I would have gone on for the next however many hours with that. All right, let's turn all these off. Let's go back to the drawing. See, my younger self, as in last year younger self, would have been like, oh, I've come too far, I'll just leave it. But I've learned if it's got to change, it's got to change. So just change it. There's a thing in economics called the sunk cost fallacy, which I can't think of the definition right off the top of my head because I'm trying to figure this out. But basically, not sticking to something just because you spend a lot of time on it, even if it's wrong. That's basically how I'm thinking about it. Ben has matured. Oh, I don't know about that. Yeah, because I would just be like, oh, I've spent too long on this. And then probably end up having to change it anyway. All right, because it's the thing that needs to be changed. But it would take me so long to bloody do it because I spent so long on it. But that doesn't matter, really, how long I've spent on it. If it's not right, it's not right. Yeah, that's another thing, because I did actually draw, if we go back, I did draw the whole, where are we at with this one? What is this? I actually did start to draw our whole face in, and in reality the mask is going to be covering like how far it juts out. it's going to be covering her face and her nose. So really it's just going to be, I've got to do a lot with her jaw, because her nose is going to be somewhere back here probably, somewhere, if that makes sense. It's not intuitive though, like it's not an intuitive thing to, you would have thought that you probably would have seen her nose. See if we can get these simple shapes working. Oh God, look at that face. Bloody hell. Let's just focus. And I've lost Photoshop and now it's just my face. Fantastic. And we're back. Let's think about this. So I'm not trying to copy my face. I'm trying to copy or get the essence of the expression, which is the tricky part. I'll do traditional for studying. But I'm guessing when doing traditional, you could have the headset on 50% opacity layer above the face, then finish face that way. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's kind of where I got to. But then things shifted and changed ever so slightly until it started. I mean, the anatomy there wasn't terrible. It just didn't fit the kind of character that I was going for, if that makes sense. Now it looks like she's smiling, so let's well, this is what it's all about. We are struggling here, which is all part of it. Now we got some weird tangents going on here, so I don't want that. Struggle Town. Maybe some overlap with the teeth, right, I think. I still want it to be stylized. I don't want it to be too, like this is what's, maybe I do some like cartoon eyes up here to show that she's like scared. To be like, oh, that's, shows it a little bit more. Eyebrows, I meant, sorry. What's the main shape you think of when drawing / sculpting a female face? For me, it's a cylinder with cheekbones for guys. It really depends on the person, right? Because you can have masculine features on a woman, you can have feminine features on a man. You can have a larger face, like a fuller face, that all that goes out the window, you know what I mean? Again, it's really, for me, it's just shapes. Depending on the character or the reference that I'm trying to sort of follow, if that makes sense. Whoa, Sam Lamb. Whoa, Ben, are you doing line art on a pen tablet? Also, hi, nice to catch a stream. Welcome, Sam, and that is exactly what I'm doing. I am doing it on a pen tablet. And I'm struggling with the mouth right now. But it's getting there. It's better than what it was, I think. We can have some like little spit, like things come out like, oh shit, I don't want to be here. Sam Lamb. I always had this idea in mind that line art was better on a screen tablet for iPad or traditional. Maybe a pen tablet is good for rendering, but now that I think about it, a pen tablet might force me to slow down and be thoughtful about my lines. I think you should slow down and be thoughtful about your lines regardless of if you're doing traditional or on a pen tablet. I mean, the tablet I'm actually using can be used as like a screen tablet, if you know what I mean. But I actually like to do it like this for just my neck instead of being like this the whole time, or even like the iPad. It just helps my neck, and yeah, it's a little bit different, but the principle should still be the same. You sort of do want to kind of slow down still, regardless of what you're using. Yeah, there needs to be more of a yeah, it's too ambiguous around here. Alright, so we've got like the but the overall feel is still there. Like, get away from me. Because we're gonna have to think about the face more so when we do like the badass version, right? We'll see her face fully. And this tongue can be more pointy. perhaps the teeth come out. Yeah, feeling a bit better. Feeling slightly a bit better. So it's going to overlap a bit there. Do you ever switch between works in progress of art from piece A to B to A to C to BA, etc.? Yes, I definitely do. Like at the moment, I'm working on this. I'm also working on the self-portrait. And I'll maybe spin up something else at some other point just to sort of keep cycling through things. And it helps from a content creation standpoint as well. It sort of keeps it fresh. If I'm trying to like explain a topic, instead of just using the same character all the time, I can sort of get halfway through to a certain point and then explain it on a different character, which sort of just keeps it a bit more interesting, I think, at least. Thanks, Shane. Yeah, it's a good bit of fun. I want to clean it up. This was actually the reel, like my latest reel that I did. So I actually duplicated this one, where this is probably maybe 70% of the way there. And then I sort of duplicated this and then used this as a, a sort of test, sort of demo to show how color layers work. And I'll do that as well. So I'll sort of take things back to certain sort of levels of finish to try and explain things a little bit clearer, or as clear as I can, if that makes sense. Yeah, look, this is gonna this is where we're at with it right now, and this is the way that the teeth are going to be, because I want to get into rendering and we can always paint over the top of them. I just don't want these gums to look like a goatee, which will be fine when I do color, but just in the line work. Okay, here's what it is. Let us move on. Yeah, look how look how jotted forward that jaw was. That's nuts. All right, so let's nick off the mouth. Toodaloo, teeth, ta-ta. What else have we got? Do I have the other layer on? Is that why? Oh, that's why. Yep. I'm with you. Okay, so we will come through. And let's carve this jaw shape back. All right. Let's then go to the skin selection that we made earlier. Get rid of that. We can bring it back on the edge here. All right, so now let's do a mouth one again. Mouth selection. Not a great selection, but you know, what are you going to do? Alright, so then let's do a teeth selection as well. See how this is looking. This is going to tell me all I need to know about how this is reading. Some weird tangent stuff going on here. So what we can do is we can knock back some of the line work to have that jaw maybe follow just all the way through up. Like that maybe. It'll do, we'll fix it, Because this isn't going to be as... Let's actually knock it back, the whiteness maybe. It's going to be pretty in shadow. Alright, here's what it is. And we still haven't done the bloody these thingies yet. What we can do though is, if all's going well, we select this one, we select this one, we select all of our selections and add them all up, right? I think that's all of them. And then if we go command inverse or invert, and then this probably isn't going to work. Oh, it did work. All right, check this out. Ultimate time saver. Shabam. Look at that. Then we've got this. I think actually, then we want to minus that, I think, and then invert. Oh, I don't know, it works. It worked. It's not perfect, but it's fine. We can add, because it's in the clipping mask, it's fine. Cool, so now we got the hand toggle controller thingy-majiggies. Alright, now where do we go from here? Actually, I found one little mistake. Let's remove that selection there. That selection from the legs. Let's go to the skin and let's add that skin color on the legs here where we've got the rips in the jeans. And then we come to here and just notch these out. Actually, we'll bring select the tanks up there. Cool. All right, now we can test the color. We don't have to just jump straight into color and be like, this is it. Let's see if we can test out some color schemes, some color variations. There's not going to be too many variations in this one because I mean we're going to have jeans. Maybe we do a different color jean. I don't know. We're going to have maybe like a Caucasian or some sort of skin color we can sort of agree upon. Maybe we do like a more like a Zoe Kravitz kind of skin color. But what I'll do is I'll duplicate this guy. All right, now we've got all our black and whites. Now we can color test now, or we can start rendering or getting some values going. I wonder. Let's bring back our darker background. All right, that's looking cool. That's sort of popping a little bit. Sayek. I love to see how you draw here and see step by step every single workflow is pretty great. Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. Shane, would you start with a coffee bean shape when sculpting Ben's face? You are what you eat. Understanding the basic shape like 3D. Again, you said yesterday that if you want to draw something cool, start thinking about the basic shape. Yeah, if you want to start drawing anything, really, in my opinion. Again, this is all just my opinions. I don't recommend that you, like if someone's saying do this, this is the way to do it. It may be the way to do it. It's most likely their way to do it. So I say these are just the things that I like to do. The methods, the techniques that I've picked up over time. If they work for you, fantastic. Take them, use them. If not, try it. Pick and choose bits and pieces of other. Like for example, like head drawing, like the head construction. A lot of people are like, the Loomis method is the way, or the Bridgman method is the way, or blah 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 blah. I take a hybrid. Depending on the situation. I might take a bit of Loomis. I might take a little bit of Steve Houston. Steve Houston is a fantastic one to look at. He's got actually a video on YouTube for his head construction. His is really good for head direction. He starts kind of with like a triangle kind of shape. So I might use a bit of Steve Houston, a bit of the Loomis method, a little bit of Bridgman, a little bit of myself, a little bit of another artist that I've seen, sort of thing, a little bit of Michael Hampton as well with his figure drawing design and invention book. So grab little bits and pieces of everything. There's no one right way to do things as well. Like it's so Sam Lamb, Ben, it's bedtime here in California, but I'm so glad I got to hang out for a bit. Thanks for being such a great content creator and teacher. My pleasure, Sam. Thank you so much for popping past. You have a fantastic night's sleep. And we'll hopefully see you in another one. All right. Gene color to contrast the monster's colors. That's a very good idea. I think that's the way to go, actually. Or complement them, let's say. My go-to, I can just see like the green tentacles here, but I think that's just, it's too obvious, maybe? I don't know. I'm thinking maybe even like purpley, but yeah. I'm not even thinking about color right now, to be honest. Because if we're going to do values, we've got to think about what environment she's in, okay? What kind of lighting situation is she? Do we want to do it in like a studio kind of lighting setup where it's kind of more 3D rendered look, like how you see a lot of the 3D renders on Pinterest and that kind of stuff? Do we want more directional lighting? Do we want her to be more focused? Do we want more of a spotlight? Like a harsh key light, so there's some shadows. Yeah, I don't quite know yet. Maybe we start with ambient lighting, and then we can go from there, like a real soft ambient light. Then we can add harsh lights on later, and add harsh shadows and that kind of stuff. So let's have a play. Blue monster with pink highlights. The fuck is the opposite of blue? Light from underneath. Well, the complement to blue would be more of a red or an orange potentially. I was thinking about like a purpley, bluey mod. But we can make that all up because it's like we can play around with the light color as well. We got to think this is reality, right? So I don't want to go too out there with the colors. I want it to be kind of more noticeable as their actual like local color. So it's like as if she's in her living room potentially. And then these are gonna be rendered, and then we're gonna figure out, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but figure out how to make them look more sort of hologrammy, to be like these are within the game, and like she's freaking out. And I might even like hologram some like bullets or guns or something shooting off in all directions because she's freaking out. Maybe. And then maybe like a score in the top left or something like that. Like, yeah, we could take this however far we want to go. And then the other one we do maybe more game style, where it's like all different kinds of lighting and bits and pieces. We'll see how we go, how time permits. But let's start with some ambient light. So we've got this copy. Okay, so let's just go ambient or diffuse lighting, let's say. Let's call it ambient, doesn't matter. And because we've got this selection, we can use this to keep everything within the lines. All right, so I might just do a very broad top-down ambient sort of light to start with. And I think we can take my face away from the reference for now. Maybe we could do it more like this kind of lighting. I mean, that's cool. I love 3D renders. I love the look of them. Like, we can even do it more like that, so we can just have these up there to have a play. So what I'll do here is I'll go to the multiply layer. All right. I've just got a really soft airbrush. Now, with the actual settings on the airbrush, I don't want shape dynamics too much, right? Maybe I have a little bit. All right, we'll see how that goes. Now I'm thinking if it's top down, like the ambient lighting is top down. That's pretty harsh. The transfer, let's make that so my pen pressure dictates how hard and soft it is. Right, and we can just do a mask really, so we don't have to see the selection. This music's intense, bloody hell. Start just putting in some like where I'm thinking about planes here, like where's the darkest part's going to go. Not taking into account any reflected light or anything yet. Let's maybe not go as dark. See, because this is going to cast a is all going to be in a lot of shadow because of the headset. Which is an issue, I think. She certainly does. I know I've been doing the thick calves thing for a little while now. I don't know why. Maybe it's something that I want, and I can only achieve them in art. It's pure speculation though. What's the name of the muscle bumps near the elbows? Good question. I don't know off the top of my head. Exactly, Shane. As I said before, I don't think it's necessary to know all the names and different muscle groups and that sort of stuff. I mean, it's fun to know, it's useful to know. Like, I like just nerding out over that stuff anyway, but yeah, trying to memorize it, it's like, yeah. When you need it, and then you go and figure it out. Open a good anatomy book and yeah, go for it. They did eat her biceps. That's a very good point. See what just like a little bit of a touch of the airbrush can do? Just to really start to sculpt out some of these forms, ever so slightly, but nothing too crazy. See, just those little, just a tiny bit of understanding of the anatomy, right? It does make it look like a concept car. Just those lines. And then you can come through and like painterly them up. So this is like a good thing I like to do. Speaking of cars, has Ben drawn any people in cars? I drew a guy a long time ago standing outside of a car looking in through the window sort of thing. You have to go back a bit on my Instagram to find that one. I was dabbling with an initial D concept there for a little while, which I might bring back, which will be fun. Well, I challenge you then. A Volvo jumping over a snowman for a Christmas. Yeah, maybe we do some like sketch challenge sort of things, like not full on rendered stuff, but like, yeah, that could be fun. Alright guys, I reckon I've got about maybe 15 minutes more left. Then we've got to jump off. I might even hop back on later on tonight. Not making any promises, but we'll see how we go. Just lighten that background up a bit. Now something you'll notice a lot with some of these 3D renders, right? The background does quite a bit of, like it's nice because you've got a bit of a gradient on the background. It's never just like a flat, or it's very seldom just like a flat background. So we might want to add a bit of a gradient here. Look. This gives a little bit of something different. See if you can start to see the forms when the line works off. Sort of like you're heading in the right direction. The arm's looking good, the rest of it is a little bit iffy. But we'll get there. Will there be a glitching background? Potentially. That's a good idea. That could definitely be something like an after the painting's sort of done, we can play around with the backgrounds and do all sorts of effects and stuff on them. Thanks, Shane. Kind of in that in-between phase. I just want to get it past a certain point, but I don't think that's going to happen just yet. Not in this stream though, I don't think. Uh-oh. Alright guys. Give me 2 moments. Someone is at the door. I'll be back shortly. Be right back. My apologies. Oh, shit. we're back. Only for probably another 5 more minutes though, but we'll see what we can achieve. Alright, so see how where we're at the moment with the flats and just a single multiply layer. So we added a multiply with a bit of an airbrush. Can start to sort of bring things into a decent spot. I'm just looking for really obvious places where there's like connections, like two things are touching. Like for example here, we can add some more shadow underneath there because it's like it's a touch point. You have sort of that like occlusion shadow. Same here. It might not be as intense, and maybe it'll only happen yeah, the line work's messing with that one a little bit. That's alright. This can all be adjusted later. I love how you reference 3D models. I think that's what makes your concept so solid volume-wise. Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, they just really appeal to me. The just the shapes and stuff. It's just a lot of, I don't know, just looks so freaking cool. Oh, Fun Guns Pro. Got the jokes growing. Brought many ideas to light, did it? Very good. But yeah, Shane, with the with 3D models, I reckon it's a missed opportunity that a lot of 2D artists, I think, miss, is to really study from sculpture, whether it's digital sculpture or traditional. I think you can learn, both can learn a lot from each other, the 2D and the 3D world. Have you heard of the artist Gabriel Suarez? Have I heard of the artist Gabriel Suarez? Yes, I absolutely love his work. Awesome, Shane. Looking forward to it. Thanks for stopping by, man. You have a good night. I reckon that'll do it for today. We've got some line work going. We got some of the rendering done. I'll hang around for a couple of minutes. Just to sort of wind down. Yeah, I've been looking at this for too long. I can't judge the if it's going in the right direction or not. Why, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll come back in the next couple of days and start fixing this mouth. This mouth is doing my head in. Not a fan. Not a fan at all. But yeah, it's going to be interesting sort of figuring out her facial features. I think also her hair's a little bit too far back. Like she's got almost like a widow's peak kind of thing going on. Like too much. Let's test something out. Let's just grab this, maybe bring this, go. See, I can't help myself. I said I was going to stop. No, you can't stop. Won't stop. Okay. Just trying. Yeah, I wanted to feel more female as well. So I think I might also if the eyebrows will do it. Like if you got super high eyebrows. I think the issue is that the gums look like a goatee at the moment. Right? So this is just on a layer. I'm just like playing around, testing different ideas out. What if we make that a lip? We'll delineate the lip a little bit more. Needs more rounding. What that mouth do? It's not working for me. That's what it didn't do. Needs more rounding. The hair curls too. Yeah, I think so. Raina, hey Ben, had a great time watching you draw while working on my own drawings, and thanks for the advice on realism versus stylization. 100% man. No worries. Thanks so much for dropping by. Agreed. Gum goatee. Yeah. So we need to get rid of that somehow. Although I love the. Oh yeah, let's just do it. If we just got rid of that, how does that affect? Oh, I don't know. Challenge for another day, I reckon. All right. I've got to stop it, or else I'm going to keep going forever. So I'll. Oh, this mouth is going to annoy me. It's going to keep me up at night. So what notes do we want? We want more hair. Maybe round the curls out a little bit more. So let's write some notes, which is what I sometimes do before we head off. So let's more hair. Fix chin. Feminine fingers. There we go. You can barely read that because of the contrast. There we go. Alrighty, well, I think that does it. Maybe move head up so rounding of jaw can be seen. Yeah, that's not a bad idea as well. I think it'd be easier actually to play with the head placement once we've done some of the rendering. So I might make a note of that as well. Cool. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for stopping by. And on that note, I'll see you in the next one. Catch ya.